Awesome. Good morning, everyone. My name is Evan Hurst. I lead the product management team for the Workspace ONE SDK and our app services, including mobile flows. I appreciate you joining me this morning. So I just have to show this real quick. I am going to touch on a few things that are futures. You've probably seen this slide a dozen or so times already this year. So just keep in mind some of this is subject to change as we go through the development process. All right, so I decided when I was prepping for this session that I was going to try to avoid using any buzzwords whatsoever. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but I'll certainly do my best. Let's just get a show of hands real quick. How many folks in the audience are building mobile apps right now? Anyone? Got one, got two. Anyone else building mobile apps? No? What about workflows? You do anything with helping make employees' tasks easier, like approvals or submitting timesheets or filling out task management? Great. So our whole goal with Workspace ONE is to help enable you to develop these solutions, but also for you to be able to enable your lines of businesses to build these solutions in a secure and supportable way. That's our focus of the platform is to help with the whole life cycle of how you secure these applications, how you build these applications to make that faster and easier, and then how you run and manage these applications over the course of their life cycle. And we're going to focus on three areas that we have solutions to help you with. Mobile application development with our software development kit, content-driven app experiences using our content platform, and contextual notifications and workflows using mobile flows and the new Workspace ONE Hub notification services. So let's jump right in. So we've built over a dozen applications internally that we've deployed, and all of these applications have requirements both from our customers and from our own internal IT for security, for manageability, to track the performance of these applications when they're deployed to production. And obviously, we don't do this in every single application that we build, reinventing the wheel and spending all that time and money and effort recreating these common experiences. We use our own Workspace ONE SDK, which is our common platform for security, identity, analytics, privacy, and content. So if you have requirements around passcodes or encryption, data loss prevention, compliance like doing root or jailbreak detection, authenticating your end users, that's probably a pretty basic one most of you deal with. The SDK provides all of these capabilities out of the box, so it's easier for developers to focus on creating meaningful applications and not on common requirements that we all need to face from a risk and compliance and security and management perspective. The three capabilities I want to focus in on a little bit on this slide. First is analytics. This is actually powered by Untitled, which you may be familiar with. This was an acquisition we made about a year ago. That is designed to help developers of the applications and IT rolling out these applications understand the stability and performance of that app. So things like monthly active users and daily active users, crash analytics and aggregation, network performance. Untitled is a really kind of expansive platform to help you track all these metrics as you test and deploy these applications to production. The two new capabilities that we're actually introducing at VMworld this year are privacy and content. These are both available in beta today, and I have little cards for you to sign up for the beta program if you're interested. Privacy may be top of mind for some of you, especially if you deal with users that are in Europe with the advent of GDPR and other privacy regulation. It's more important than ever that we're communicating what data is going to be collected from an end user's device and also asking them to opt in to reporting any additional analytics with us as developers so that we can understand how they're interacting with the app. And then content is a shift from what was traditionally a content-focused application, formerly called Content Locker, now just called Content. We're actually creating a platform capability drawn out of the functionality provided by that application so that we can integrate content-rich use cases into our other internal applications as well as provide it to our customers for them to build content-rich apps. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. So I know this all looks great. It's a long list of requirements. If you were to hand this list to one of your developers, they'd probably look at you like you're crazy, right? I'm never going to go and implement 12, 15, 20 different security requirements. I'm not going to have any time left to actually build the application that I'm supposed to be building. So I thought I'd actually show you a demo real quick of how easy it is to get started with the Workspace ONE SDK. So I have a fictitious app that I've created here for worldwide enterprises. It's targeted for contractors in the field, maybe using personally owned devices to access an application to look up all the jobs that they have to take care of over the course of a day. So this is my schedule of maintenance jobs or repair jobs that I need to do. And remember, I mentioned this is a personally owned device, so I have requirements for this app of not exposing customer data, making sure that I'm dealing with privacy requirements. So in 4 lines of code, I'm actually going to initialize the Workspace ONE SDK, and out of the box, it's going to take care of a few key requirements for me that are sent down from the Workspace ONE console by my IT administrator and IT security teams. So you'll see automatically the end user is going to get prompted for user authentication. They're also going to be required to set up an app-level passcode policy based on my preset requirements. And then behind the scenes, it's going to do things like root and jailbreak detection, offline access policy enforcement, additional compliance policies that I've configured in the console, and it's going to automatically tunnel every network request that this application makes back to the intranet through our secure tunnel application so that this application can access its backend resources, and that's done out of the box automatically. This is in total about 10 lines of code for me to get all of that capability, leveraging the SDK. The next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to enable the new Workspace ONE SDK privacy module, and this is fully configurable. Obviously, there's some basic information that your apps usually collect from the end user's device, but if you go further and you need certain permissions, like I want to track your location so I know whether you're on the job site, this gives a really clean and easy way for you to communicate that information to your end user, and it'll actually track state. So on next launch of the app, it'll notice that I, as an end user, have not yet accepted these privacy terms, and it'll ask the user for consent. I can also, here, I've configured it to allow me to opt into optional analytics reporting so that I can track what the user is doing in this application. It's anonymized, of course, but I want their permission to be able to collect that data. All right, so the last thing you're going to see me do here is add our one-line Apptelligent SDK for analytics. And so by enabling this SDK, I'm actually going to switch over to the console now. You're not really going to see anything in the application as an end user. But if I jump over to the Apptelligent console, you'll see all of those key metrics you care about, like how are users adopting my application? How many monthly active users do I have? What's my crash rate in production? Do I have a compatibility issue with iOS 9 or iOS 10 or a certain version of the Android operating system? Do I have network latency talking to my backend services? I've actually taken this implementation one step further and used user flows to track the most important job that this application does, which is download the schedule for these contractors. And so you can see here that my custom user flow download job data is failing 18% of the time, so it's immediately obvious to me that this new version of the application that I developed has a problem and I can't roll it out to production. So this is a really great way for you to track the most important user interactions or background jobs that are happening in your application so you can see what's succeeding and failing for your users. All right, so that's getting started with the SDK. I really didn't cover too much about content in this application. Obviously, I could have expanded the application to include things like accessing repair manuals and guides and instructions and how-tos, and I could have embedded all that. But I actually wanted to touch on 2 other use cases. These are examples that we showed earlier in our presentations at VMworld. One of the first things we're doing is leveraging this new content platform and SDK to take the repositories that were configured in our Content Locker app, like your OneDrive and Box and Google Drive, and we're embedding those experiences directly into the Boxer app so that users can perform quick workflows like saving email attachments back to their OneDrive or attaching files from OneDrive or maybe even an on-prem repository. And the power of this platform is that it can access all of those repositories with a single set of APIs, so I don't have to go and code specifically for each repository I need to talk to. I just leverage the SDK and our APIs to integrate that. We're also building on top of this with a new aviation-focused application. And this is a great example of how you can create content-rich applications tailored to a specific user persona in your organization. So in this example, we have an aviation-focused app for pilots. Now, traditionally, if you kind of rewind about 10 years, as a pilot, you used to have to carry like 20 to 30 pounds of flight manuals when you're going to your next plane, your next flight. So the first transformation happened there with moving that to the content application, so all of those are now PDFs. They're all digital. I no longer have to haul that big kind of briefcase full of documents onto the plane with me. We went and we did user studies with them, and their feedback to us was, I actually need a user experience tailored specifically to me and what I need to do in the cockpit. It can't be white because I get a lot of glare when I'm flying at night. I need simple information like, do I have all the files that I'm supposed to have according to regulation to allow me to fly this plane? So that user experience isn't something you can build just generally for all users, your office workers, your pilots, and have it meet all of their needs. So we decided that we're going to leverage this content platform so that all of the heavy lifting for synchronizing these documents, these files, is done by the platform, and all we need to develop is a nice user experience on top of it that's tailored for them. And this could apply to any industry. We've already heard about use cases for aviation. We've heard about use cases for manufacturing. One that was brought up in our session the other day, on the manufacturing line for cars, can I take a photo of an issue or a video of an issue and immediately synchronize it back to my experts that are back in the central office so that they can analyze a problem I'm facing and give me instructions on how to resolve it? It's use cases like that where a content platform is an ideal solution for helping meet that need. And we're going to do this by providing SDKs for iOS and Android, web APIs, and it's out of the box going to handle things like access cloud and on-premise repositories, automatically synchronizing this data down to the device and managing the state of those documents so they're always up to date, securely storing them on the device, as well as provide some pre-built UIs to help our developers get started with this platform. Pretty cool, right? Yeah? See it? Good. I'm sorry? Oh. All right, so the last thing I said I'd mention, contextual notifications and workflows. So last year we announced that we were releasing the Mobile Flows platform. And Mobile Flows was created to help you embed more experiences in email for common tasks and notifications and things that a user receives. So instead of getting an email that says, hey, you need to go approve this time off request or approve this expense report or update this service ticket, well, usually that just had a reference to a ticket ID or a link to an expense report. Maybe that system was behind the firewall, it was inaccessible. More often than not, what you end up doing, especially on your mobile device, is putting that task off. And this applies to common tasks that we have on a day-to-day basis, like the ones I mentioned, and could also apply to tasks that are more unique to the users and what they're supposed to do for their job. So this year we announced that we're actually expanding this contextual workflow platform to not only support email-driven workflows that are based on the context of an email message, but also to include the new Workspace ONE Intelligent Hub application for notifications. So think of this as the place where anything that is persistent, a task that I need to take action on, like changing my password, or hey, this is an urgent alert. You have a monitoring alert for your infrastructure. You need to take care of this now. You can deliver those notifications centrally to the Workspace ONE Hub app. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to have to build a mobile application for everything. You probably, if you look on your phone right now, you probably have page 1 apps that you use on a fairly regular basis, page 2 apps that you may touch once a week or once a month. And then if you get to page 3, it's probably a graveyard. You probably haven't touched those apps in multiple months or even once after the first time you downloaded it. We don't want you to create an application for everything. We want you to create more intelligent apps, and where possible, leverage contextual workflows to deliver short, focused tasks that you need your employees to take care of. So this is a great way that you can deliver those notifications, those custom workflows, those integrations into your back-end business systems down to email-driven experiences and Workspace ONE Hub. And how we do this is through 2 services. So I mentioned Mobile Flows. So last year we introduced the Mobile Flows service. This is a cloud-based service that allows you to build connectors that talk to different back-end business systems. And the new Workspace ONE Intelligent Hub notification service, which integrates with Mobile Flows into that same connector framework, but also has a public exposed API so that if you need to push a notification from your own proprietary systems, you can deliver those notifications to your users through the Hub notification service. And you'll see on the right here, I have a lot of different names of different systems you might want to integrate with. How do I get started? What do I do to create these experiences? And it all starts with that connector, right? It all starts looking at what system am I talking to and what use case do I want to meet. So, in this example here, you see I have a salesperson use case. Maybe I'm creating an easier workflow for my salespeople to update their pipeline. Maybe they haven't, this is something you always forget. You're focused on engaging conversation, talking to your customers, talking to your prospects. You forget to go back into the system and update, this is the confidence I have that this deal is going to close. Or maybe you're a developer or an IT person and you get an alert and email that says, hey, we have this problem that's an urgent ticket, we need you to take care of it. And you look at the email, it says ABC123, right? That's the ticket we need you to take care of. Your response to that is, okay, well, I don't know what that means, but I have to pull out my laptop, log into VPN, open up these 3 services, navigate to the search bar, type in the ticket ID, and then I can actually see the information that allows me to respond to that issue. We can create a workflow, whether it's into ServiceNow or Jira or Zendesk or whatever system you're using, so that a card is surfaced alongside that email message or directly in Hub that says, this is the summary of the ticket that we're referencing, and these are the actions you can perform on it, like commenting or assigning it to another individual in your organization. Those are the types of experiences that these connectors enable. And we've created about 10 or so different out-of-the-box connectors that are available for customers to leverage. But the power here is that your workflows may be unique to your organization. We can't dictate every detail of how you function internally and what your processes are. So all of these connectors are open source. They're all posted on GitHub for our customers to download and customize and add the right information that's unique to your organization. We also have a template to build custom connectors end-to-end that you can follow. So if you have a proprietary backend system and you want to develop a workflow that's email-driven or Hub notification-driven, you'll be able to follow our connector template to build that end-to-end to talk to your proprietary backend system. And one of the really powerful things here is that this leverages, like I mentioned, Workspace ONE Intelligent Hub, the Workspace ONE platform, so that you can use Identity Manager to get single sign-on into all of these backend systems, which means the end user experience is seamless, right? I log into Boxer, I log into Hub, I turn on these services, I say I want to subscribe to these notifications, and it automatically can sign me into all of the different backend systems it needs to talk to deliver those experiences. So I know this is a lot. It's a lot of different topics. It's a lot of information. Where do you go to find out more information about this? The best place for you to go going forward is going to be the Workspace ONE Dev Center on VMware Code. So I encourage all of you to bookmark this. Today you'll be able to go here and find information about our APIs, whether it's for Identity Manager or Workspace ONE UEM. You'll be able to find the Getting Started guides for our SDK. So if you want to go back and talk to your mobile developer and say, hey, let's look at what this can do for us. Can it solve some of the problems that we're facing? You'll be able to find all that information on Workspace ONE Code, or VMware Code. And the last thing I'll mention, I talked about signing up for our beta program. Workspace ONE Hub notifications is going to be available in this beta program. The content platform will be available through this beta program, as well as the new privacy module. You don't need to take a photo of this. I actually have a whole bunch of cards that I'll hand out if you don't have one already. That'll make scanning this a lot easier. And with that, I know we have probably about 10 minutes left, so I'll open it up for any questions you might have. Anyone? I'm sorry?
For the workflow one, do you need the intelligence portion?
That's a great question. So for the workflows, do you need the intelligence version of Workspace ONE? So mobile flows is part of Workspace ONE Enterprise, which gives you the email-driven workflows and some of those connector frameworks. However, the new Workspace ONE notification service, which allows you to deliver those cards I showed before. Where are they? There we go. So if you needed to deliver cards inside of the new Workspace ONE notifications experience, Hub notifications experience, you can do that using the API that doesn't require the enterprise level license. It's just the backend connector framework that comes with mobile flows that requires that enterprise license. I don't have an exact date that I can share right now. Unfortunately, if you want to connect after, and maybe if we can get you signed up for the beta program, we can talk a little bit more about what that timing might look like. It'll ultimately depend on, are you looking for both platforms, one platform, the API-based approach, or the SDK-based approach, because the timing may vary a little bit between those. So if you want to talk through your specific use case, we can definitely talk about that in more detail. Cool. I'm sorry?
In your version of Boxer, when does it go to beta?
Hero Cards in Boxer is already available. It's GA. Yeah. So if you're looking to, if you want to get started with that, we can definitely connect after. I can give you my card. You can have a more technical deep dive. Can you use it for on-prem? So the mobile flow service and the notification service are both cloud-based services. So those themselves can't be deployed on-prem. However, the connectors that I showed you that talk to your actual backend systems, they're all open source code. They could be packaged and deployed in the cloud and AWS or Azure. They could be deployed on-prem. And that's really where all the kind of core business data that's being exchanged to the app, that's what it's passing through, is that connector framework. The cloud service is primarily for discovery of those connectors and making sure that the application can be updated in real time with new capabilities. So that's one of the big advantages cloud services have. But the connectors can absolutely be deployed on-prem. Any other questions? All right. Well, I appreciate the time, guys. Safe travels home. Thank you.